Okay, we are recording the epilogue to Happy Camper Season 2. Hope everybody's excited. We have done 8 sessions, 7 sessions. It was supposed to be 8, and then it was going to be 6 sessions plus 7. So it's going to be 7 sessions, but in 2 parts. And then it turned into 7 sessions, and I think that was good. I think that worked still really well for the story. But we are going to do a recap of exactly what happened with my party. And then we are going to go straight into um talking about what happened afterwards. So, Happy Camper, Season 2, The Aftermath. We'll recap. Here we go. It was 2 years since the first and last set of weekend camps at a popular Klein's Camp, owned and operated by Happy Camper Co. It hasn't been easy for the campers who survived those weekend camps for the last 2 years. In fact, in the last few months, there's been an alarming trend in obituaries. Almost every camper from the first Klein's Camp weekend have shown up dead. If a former camper wasn't in hiding before this last obituary, they are now. Zoe Remy, a long-standing counselor at Klein's Camp and the only person to attend all 3 weekend camps, was recently featured in the latest of Happy Campers to Fall. This, of course, has changed things for our adventurers, as on the same day they see this announcement released, they all receive a letter from a mysterious A, giving you nothing but a date, time, location, and the promise that transportation will be provided. You all meet one another at a tavern in Hemph at your designated location and time, where you are met by a tiefling named Sun, who gives you all new identity paperwork. He also gives you a key that is said to unlock the secret door that's hidden at Klein's Camp. Presumably, this will lead you to the camp director's lab, where she has been experimenting on the camp's counselors and campers over the years. In this town in Hemph, called West Winifred, you all meet the daughter of a bookstore owner named Jack, who sells Casey a similar looking crystal orb that he remembers from when he went to the weekend camp many years ago. Skyra gets drunk on apple juice, and you all witness the singing spires of Hypharon together. You also meet and befriend a satyr named Gilly, who motherlingly embraces you all as her own and is very eager when you all leave for you to return and tell her of your adventures. You also notice a black and purple bird who reminds you of Miss Angelique, who was the camp nurse and the only person to believe you when you told her of the strange things that you were experiencing at camp. Finally, you all leave Hemph and meet your new counselors on the ship ride to camp. Grenda, Hesidia, Lila, Lorraine, Ifrin, Lily, and Lori, as well as the Frog Brothers. You all arrive to Klein's Camp, and you meet a Mrs. Thorngage and a Gajan, who gets you settled at the Klein's Camp Lounge. But before you all even go through orientation, you wander the halls of the camp lodge. You find a graveyard, a giant clock hanging upside down in the middle of the grand hall, and Casey witnesses Gajan slip into a door which seems to lead to another part of the lodge. You all venture through this mysterious door after hearing the clock chime. Inside this place, you find the servants' quarters, But as soon as you enter, you all experience very strange happenings. There's a dust-covered space that looked like it hasn't been touched in years. Octavia makes a new friend and a ghostly figure who calls herself the Fur. Kokorito and Flint race to save Skyra, and Skyra finds herself falling through nightmares. Flint also has his own nightmare, although it's just as real, if not more real than Skyra's, when he meets a creature who calls herself the Light Fur, and brands Flint with a tattoo. Flint also gets a visitor the next day, a black and purple bird, whom he bonds with, and learns that its name is Obi. Later on, Casey and Flint discover a patio door that has been boarded up, and they're able to pry a little piece off so that they can sneak a peek inside, only to notice that this room is actually warded and that someone has been watching them the whole time. You all quickly find yourselves being the target of some very strange misdeeds. The mansion rumbles when you're all walking downstairs to go to breakfast, and it breaks the window that's in your room. Skyra's little necklace is stolen, and she realizes that the key that she was given by Sun activates after mysteriously vanishing earlier that day. After it's found, the key actually gets absorbed into Skyra's body and gilds her bones gold. And KC's mysterious antique orb at this point has only glowed once, when they were all standing, when you guys were all standing near the singing Hypharon spires. Casey and Flint have found a crawl space in one of the cabins in Cabin C, and with the help of the Light Fur, make their way through a damp, dark hole under the camp. At the same time, Octavia and Skyra are... A lot of planes happening right now. Octavia and Skyra are also jumping down into a crawl space, but Skyra is unconscious because they were both ambushed in the whatchamacallit room, the storage room. You all find yourselves in a secret room, one attached to the room Casey and Flint had found earlier. So this room has a dead body covered in thorns in it, and a coffin. Inside the larger room, there was a desk, a chest that wasn't a chest, and a golden stag head that turned out to be a secret passageway to the lab, activated by Skyra without her even knowing it. However, time runs out at this time, and dinner is ready, and the new camp staff are arriving. At dinner, the counselors who earlier on had allowed themselves to stop questioning the strange and unusual behaviors of the staff have sat down to eat dinner, but they aren't quite themselves. You also meet a brand new staff of people. You meet Tara, Medusa, Jasper, Vera, and everyone's favorite, Carl. The last person to arrive to dinner is Mrs. Reyes herself. It's a tense dinner, but you all retire to your rooms. And when you get to your rooms, you find you each have a camp uniform and your schedule for when the campers arrive in 2 days' time. And they're all on your bed. But KC has a very special yellow box on his bed. It's tied with a beautiful red ribbon, yellow ribbon. And inside, to his horror, was a satyr's horn, bloodied and crusted, and a note on top of it that simply says, "Message received." That same day, Obi returns. The Shadowfur tries to warn Octavia of a spy in their midst, and a showdown happens between Obi, the Shadowfur, and the Lightfur once it is revealed that the Lightfur is the enemy. Finally, once you all collect yourselves, Octavia defeats the Lightfur and actually absorbs their ashes into their body. You all head down to the secret door to finish this once and for all, determined to avoid the camp ever accepting new campers again. You all find Mrs. Reyes' lab, and inside, you find former campers, as well as some counselors being transformed into monsters in huge vats of this strange green liquid that you aren't able to identify. In this underground lab, you also find a huge portal that is just running and open, and no one's watching it. While you were there investigating, you actually get ambushed by Mrs. Reyes and her gang, who actually appear from the portal. But they are no match for you all. It's crazy. And you all defeat them with a little help from Carl. But unfortunately, you aren't able to reverse the damage that's already been done to the campers and the counselors. As the camp gets swarmed with these elite warriors called Guardians that are loyal to Hypharon and are part of Miss Angelique's, crew, to shut the camp down once and for all, you all see a bus of campers arriving to this absolute mess of a camp that hopefully will never open again. And that is the recap of an actually a very short season, to be honest, of only 7 episodes, but a lot happened. And that was just a short, concise recap of the major points. So now we are going to move into actually looking at the epilogue, seeing what happened with Mrs. Reyes, Mrs. Angelique, seeing what happened with our players, and then look at where they will be going somewhere in the future in this world of Happy Camper that will actually not be continuing for another season with these characters. But that is my aftermath, or this is my epilogue for Happy Camper Season 2. So I'm going to stop recording because that's all I wanted to record, and then we're going to get into the actual play of what happens after the season.